Welcome, everyone. It is my delight to welcome all of you this evening for our monthly webinar. And tonight we have the great pleasure of being with Kimberly Lee, and her webinar is Writing the Body. So this is going to be very exciting tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Before we get started, though, I just want to let you all know that we are doing things just a little bit differently tonight. So we're bringing you into the Zoom room. Usually when we do these webinars, we have the panelists and then you all are kind of hidden. Tonight you're visible because it's our intention to be a little bit more interactive tonight. So if you prefer, you can turn your camera off or you can leave it on, totally your call. We do ask you all to mute yourselves so we can get a good clean recording. So with that, I welcome you all to Writing the Body, and it is my great pleasure to introduce you to Kimberly Lee. Kimberly Lee left the practice of law some years ago to focus on motherhood, community work, and creative pursuits. She's a graduate of Stanford University and the University of California's Davis School of Law. She is an Amherst writer and artist facilitator. She serves on its board of directors. She holds certifications from the Center for Journal Therapy, the Center for Intentional Creativity, the Path Meditation, and Soul Collage. And she is the executive editor of the Soul Collage newsletters. A former editor and regular contributor at Literary Mama, Kimberly has served on the staffs of Carve and Friction magazines. She's an instructor at Hugo House, the Writing Salon, and Loft Literary. And her stories and essays have appeared in numerous publications and anthologies. Her manuscript was a semi-finalist in Simon & Schuster's 2022 Books Like Us first novel contest. Kimberly trusts in the magic and mystery of miracles and synchronicity and believes that everyone is creative and has a unique voice to share. Kimberly lives in Southern California with her husband and 3 children. Kimberly, I can so relate to so much in your bio. We'll have to talk a lot about this afterwards, but there's so many things I can relate to. And it is my great, great pleasure. I'm going to turn over the webinar to you, and we all look forward to writing with you this evening. So everybody grab your journals, grab your pens, and let's dive into Writing the Body. Welcome, Kimberly.
Oh, thank you so much, Tina, for that enthusiastic, beautiful introduction. And hello to everyone. It's wonderful to see you. I think we have maybe a couple of folks that I know who are hoping to become panelists as well, Roxana and Leslie. So if they could be shifted, that would be great. And I'd like to just welcome you and tell you a little bit about how this workshop came about, how I got interested in this topic, and tell you a little bit about what the next 90 minutes will look like. I am always on the search for things to write. What am I going to write about? Sometimes I know, sometimes I had something, I've seen something or what have you. But sometimes I'm wondering, what do I want to write about? And so what I've started doing was writing, tuning into the senses as part of my meditation practice, and then writing as a result of that, and just found that many rich things would come of that. So I just felt that the body is really a fountain of inspiration. It's right here. We don't have to go anywhere to find it. It's a miraculous machine. We have our senses, our faculties, its inner workings. It carries things for us. It remembers things for us. We have our own relationship with it, and we experience interactions with others through it. And so it's both our vehicle and our companion through life and all the major and minor events. So I feel it's an unlimited source of material for anything that you choose to write, whether it's purely for yourself or something that you may wish to share with others. So what we will be doing over the next 90 minutes is I'm going to have a kind of an opening inquiry for some brief kind of introductions, just to give you a chance to either place things into the chat if you'd like. And then we're going to see a short clip. And then I'll have a number of prompts and exercises and activities to engage and listen to the body, a combination of expressive and creative writing, some fun and different creative things to try. I will also lead you through a brief meditation. There will be an opportunity to share if you choose. And we'll just be starting with exploratory prompts for tuning in and listening, and then on to the creative prompts. And hopefully, it'll overall be an opportunity to be with your body, appreciating and acknowledging and celebrating it, an opportunity for some intuitive exploration, listening, tuning in, and writing with the body and its wisdom as our focus. I always just ask in any workshop or setting like this that we all agree to the CARES agreements, and CARES stands for confidentiality, which is self-explanatory, acceptance, that if people choose to share, that we accept each other without criticism or judgment. And that includes accepting yourself. There's no way to do any of this wrong. So just being very kind and self-compassionate to ourselves, respect, simply celebrating diversity and allowing for differences in culture, process, opinion, and style. Empathy, holding again our own work and each other's work gently. And then finally, support, offering feedback, encouragement, and natural wisdom that inevitably arises when people gather and share with an open heart. And then the other thing that I just wanted to say is just to please just look after yourself. The body is a sensitive topic. I plan to keep this uplifting, but if you feel an exercise or a prompt is causing some emotional discomfort, just discontinue. Don't force yourself to write into something that's painful, and give yourself permission to just take a step back. So having said that, I am going to ask Liz to play a short clip for you. It's about just 2 or 3 minutes.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's do this.
Scene 0, take 1. Mark?
So we've got one question that we want to ask you today.
Okay, well, what's that question?
The question is, if you could change one thing about your body, what would it be?
Only one.
I would change my forehead. I have a really big forehead.
I'd like to be taller.
The puffiness of my face.
My ears. I have big ears.
Stretch marks after having a baby.
A lot of times, like, kids would make fun of me, like, hey man, you get big ears, you got Dumbo over there, you know?
Definitely my skin, because I've dealt with acne and eczema issues ever since I was a little kid.
我小时候，因为大家比较喜欢大眼睛的那种美女，所以我就也希望自己眼睛能大一些。
Growing up, like a lot of people call me like 5-head, or like your forehead's so big. They've always like would say something to me about it.
Yo diría porque muchos todos caminan derecho y como que mi pie está un poco chueco.
When I was younger, I felt like I wasn't quite adequate enough.
Can you sit on the chair?
No.
All right, I'm going to ask you one question.
What's the question?
If you could change one thing about your body, what would you change?
Have a mermaid tail.
Probably like a shark mouth, so I could eat a lot of stuff.
I could have teleportation in my body. Extra pointy ears. I want
like a cheetah so I can run faster like a cheetah. I could have wings so I could fly.
I don't think there's anything to change.
I like my body actually.
Yeah, you wouldn't change anything?
Nothing else. Just a mermaid tail.
A lot of people obsess about getting older and about the wrinkles. I love my white hair. I loved it when it started turning white. It's one of those things, because I chose to stay this way, because it just wouldn't be me if I totally changed the way I look.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching.
Kimberly, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I love that one. I could watch that over and over. It illustrates, the complicated relationship we have with the body, brought on by conditioning, society, external voices, and the things we have internalized, which sponsor our own insecurities. Yet clearly we didn't arrive here with this, as illustrated by the children who are just really imaginative and magical in their responses. And so clearly the undoing and unraveling of that self-critical thread is necessary. And there is a poem by Rupi Kaur that I love. And if there was a volunteer who would be willing to read this, maybe by raising their little hand, that would be great. I would love to hear someone's voice in this space. Might there be a volunteer? Susan? Wonderful, go for it. Oh, you're muted.
I reduced my body to aesthetics, forgot the work it did to keep me alive with every beat and breath, declared it a grand failure for not looking like theirs, searched everywhere for a miracle, foolish enough not to realize I was already living in one.
Beautiful. Thank you, Susan. So writing is a wonderful way, or an effective way, to work towards that unraveling. Joan Didion said, "I don't know what I think until I write it down." Flannery O'Connor said, "I write because I don't know what I think until I read what I say." So writing offers us a chance to process those feelings, develop our own opinions, treat ourselves with compassion, listen into the wisdom of the body in a tangible way with words on paper. So I would love to start with kind of an opening, quick exercise, just a list. I love lists, especially as a journal practice. You can see here Lydia Davis, who is the queen of flash fiction and microfiction, this one, Companion. "We are sitting here together, my digestion and I. I am reading my book, and it is working away at the lunch I ate a little while ago." And I love that because it points out all the things that we take for granted, all the wonderful things about the body. So switching the approach from the filmmaker's question, from the perspective of something to be critical of or what we would want to change, I'd like to invite you to jot down a list of 10 things I love about my body. 10 things. For me, it would be my teeth, my smile. I used to be called Rabbit by this boy living down the street when I was a child. Rabbit, and he would get the other kids to call me Rabbit, had big teeth. And so I went around for a while, kind of smiling, very small, until a woman, an auntie at one of the churches that we went to, said, "What, don't you smile? Aren't you smiling?" I was like, "Yeah, what am I doing? Not smiling." So that's something that I would put on that list. Go ahead and jot down your 10 things. And as it says here, it's okay to repeat. Doesn't have to be complete sentences, just getting it all down. They could be external, internal, something you have overlooked, things that can do or has done. And just another moment or two. And feel free as you start to complete your list to place an item or two in the chat so we can see some of these things to love. I would love to see a waterfall of things that we love or a chatterfall. My brain, beautiful. Faithful health, my voice, my long fingers, the ability to dance, laugh, and speak, my stomach. Never appreciated it until I had a baby. The ability to exercise, my energy level, cross-country skiing, eyes, energy, empathy, hands, strength, dance moves, laughter, love it. Ears to hear the bird song, music. Wonderful. So now that you've kind of have that list, I'm going to invite you to do something I love to do as a warm-up, a 5-minute sprint, and just start with the prompt as you look over your list, starting with the prompt, I'm noticing that. And I will keep the time for you, just 5 minutes for you looking over that list. I'm noticing that. And just a couple more minutes. And starting to find a place where you can bring the current sentence to a close just for now. So I'd like to shift gears a bit and turn to the senses, because all embodied writing employs the senses. And so we have the 5 outward facing senses that we know and love, that pull in and to help us detect external stimuli. But there are many others, as you're probably really familiar with: intuition, which is called the 6th sense. There's also proprioception, which is our sense of being able to tell our body's position. So I am able to place my hand on my head without having to say, well, where's my hand and where's my head? I just know those things as a result of that sense, the fact that I'm sitting up as opposed to lying down. There's also equilibrioception, which is helping us maintain balance. So a baby trying to walk is developing that sense, riding a bike, yoga poses where you're standing on one leg. And then interoception, which is the one I want to focus on now, is our ability to detect our internal feelings, our felt sense. If you're in a meditation class, sometimes like tune into your felt sense. And so this includes the sense that whether we are hungry, thirsty, need to use the restroom, have a headache, as well as those gut feelings that we forgot something or that something isn't quite right. And it works hand in hand with intuition. So these things are helpful, especially this one, to us as writers, tuning into the internal and interior feelings of ourselves and our characters. And it is very similar to method acting, which you may be familiar with, is where actors take some experience of their own and bring it to their work. So there's also method writing, which is pretty much doing the same thing. So what I'm going to do now is kind of take it down a notch and lead you through a brief body scan meditation. And then when we return from that, you will see some prompts up on the screen. And I don't want to do too much talking, but as you come out of the meditation, so I will place the prompt on the screen, and there will be kind of a series of prompts inviting you to choose something to explore that may have happened during the meditation, and then move through these prompts, maybe 1 to 2 sentences per prompt, and it'll all be on the prompt. It'll be self-explanatory to you. So we'll be dealing with that internal felt sense. So taking a moment now to just settle in and relax into your seat. You may choose to close your eyes, or you may just look off into the distance softly, softening your gaze, softening your focus. You might place your hands in your lap and your feet solidly on the floor. And begin by simply paying some attention to the breath. Taking a few deep breaths in and out, in and exhaling, and then one more deep breath, exhaling, and allowing your breath now to find its own natural rhythm. Noticing it where you're called to do so, in the nostrils, the chest, the abdomen, the rising and falling. And if you're feeling anxious, jittery, nervous, or pulled in a million different directions, no worries. I offer these encouraging words from Mayura Wahid. If the ocean can calm itself, so can you. We are both salt water mixed with air. So letting that land and taking that in, taking a few nice, nourishing breaths. Just noticing with a sense of curiosity and wonder, a sense of detachment, just simply aware. Feeling the air on your skin, the clothing against your body against a surface, and hopefully feeling a sense of relaxation. Bowing to any feelings or sensations that arise, just noticing them and allowing them. Noticing that none of these sensations are permanent. They come and go, just as the ocean surf comes in and then retreats. And as we start to come to a close, I'd like to leave you with some words by Robert K. Hall. Within the body you are wearing, now inside the bones and beating in the heart, lives the one you have been searching for so long. But you must stop running away and shake hands. The meeting doesn't happen without your presence, your participation. You have nowhere to go. The marriage happened long ago. Behold your mate. And as you start to return to the present, feel free to stretch, move around, and open your eyes when you feel ready. And about 1 more minute. And starting to bring that current sentence to a close. So before we move on to the next activity, I would love to hear if there's anyone who would like to come off mute and make any comments about that exercise, anything that was surprising or unexpected, anything that came about, anything you'd like to share about the process. So if there's anyone that would like to jump in, I would love to hear your comments. Stacy.
The very first one, the first thing that comes to me about this, I said it's the difficulty that I feel like I'm having because I was tapping into my sense of smell. I have this lovely candle here. There was an itch at the top of my head, but is that internal sensation or is that just senses? So I guess I'm wondering about what's in, I need a little bit more to understand what interoception actually is.
Yeah, I think your ability, like you're detecting that there's an itch and then you're itching. So yeah, I think it is an internal detection of it. And I think that that's a great, like I love that, like for a character or in a memoir, that's like a great detail to give. So I love it. Yeah, thank you. Anyone else want to jump in and add something?
I do a lot of Kirsten Kriya meditation and a lot of other meditation. And sometimes I do it walking, sometimes sitting. And suddenly I noticed every time I do sitting meditation, my feet tingle.
Ooh. It's interesting.
I said, oh, wow.
But not during other types of meditation, not
not if I'm walking. No, if I'm sitting. Only if I'm sitting. I mean, I do, yeah. I mean, I do meditation every day, a couple of different kinds. So yeah. But sometimes I do it walking, sometimes sitting. So when I'm sitting, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, my feet are tingling again.
Oh, interesting. So hopefully you jotted that down. I think that's
jot that down.
Interesting thing to notice.
Now, Kirsten Kriya is one where you chant while you're doing it. But this wasn't, but still the same thing, same reaction.
I love it. And again, that's a beautiful detail. And so what I love about as we tune into ourselves, then we're getting material that we may, if we're writing a memoir, let's include that, that's very interesting and explore that or give that to a character. So I think this is a great detail. And these types of things come up when we just sit and notice. So I love it. Thank you, Juliana. Anyone else? I think we have time for one more.
I'll say mine.
Leslie, hi.
Hi, good to see you. Oh my goodness, she's gonna start barking. I'm sorry about that. It was quiet until now. I wrote, what is hopeful or inspiring about this is I can control this ability to calm myself whenever and wherever I need to. So my next step is to make this part of my daily practice.
Oh, I love it. Wonderful. Yeah, we can calm ourselves. I love that. Thank you, Leslie. I also see in the chat, Roxana said this is helpful in slowing down, changing the pace of the monkey mind. Yes, exactly. And then I see a comment from Susan. It was a little hard to tune in internally. And that's okay. It's just a kind of a practice. So it's just something that you practice and trying to release the trying. Do you know what I mean? So just kind of just being to the extent that you can. So just, you know, continue on just noticing things. It's really just think of it as just noticing how do I feel, and it'll come to you. So thank you for participating in that. And what I'd like to do now is invite you to look at this list of words. There's my list of words. There it is. Okay, and see if there's a word that jumps out at you that just really is calling your name without overthinking it too much. Just is there a word there that just is speaking to you right now? And just you might just jot that word down at the top of your page. And if there's another word that's not there but is on your mind, grab that word. That word would be fine if you have some other word. And so then once you have your word, what I'm going to have us do now is meditative drawing, and it's also known as intuitive drawing. And it's just allowing the hand to move as it wishes, not controlling it. Liz is going to play a lovely song, instrumental song. And so what you're going to do once that starts is you're not really seeking to draw anything in particular. You're just being fully present to the tactile sensation of your writing instrument moving on the page, kind of following your breath on the page, maybe with each inhale and exhale, drawing a line in a different direction, all without lifting the pen from the paper. And then just gently, as you do this, hold the word that you have chosen in your mind, not grasping, not trying to do anything with it, but just letting it marinate. As with the breath and the pen, just finding your own rhythm with the tempo of the music. So Liz, if you could go ahead and play that song. And so you're just drawing on the page. Thank you, Liz. That was so crystal clear. Sounded beautiful. So I want to just say a little bit about, there we go. So that's just an example. I wanted to not show that before, but show it later of just when I did this exercise. And before we move into some writing, what I did later is I just kind of made my own coloring page, such a music. It was very meditative to color it. And then I placed the words in it to kind of make your own work of art. And so that's just a little bit about that meditative drawing that you can do anytime. So now holding on to your word for a moment, I'd love to have a volunteer to read these examples of character sketches of particular emotions or qualities. So might there be a volunteer who would be willing to read this one on worry? I think Annabelle. Thank you.
Worry has written the definitive work on nervous habits. He etches lines on people's foreheads when they aren't paying attention. He makes lists of everything that could go wrong while he is waiting for the train. He is sure he left the stove on. He is terrified of the unknown.
Thank you, from J. Ruth Gentler's book of qualities, which I highly recommend. And then here is another. Could I have an additional volunteer for this one? Looking to see if I see any hands. Carolyn. Thank you.
Confidence ignores no trespassing signs. It's as if she doesn't see them. She is an explorer committed to following her own direction. She views her life as a series of experiments. The only limits she respects are her own. On rare occasions, she ice skates with doubt.
Oh, beautiful. Also from J. Ruth Gentler's book of qualities. So what I'm going to invite you to do is kind of similar to that, is to take the word that you've been working with that was on your mind as you drew and complete this story. So you have a number of prompts and you'll be placing the word that you're working with. So for example, if it's joy, it would be joy likes, and give us a description, just a sentence about joy, thinking of joy as a character similar to those examples. And then you could move on through this. This morning, joy invited me to dance. My first thought was, and then you could complete that. And then I realized that and complete that. So where you see a blank, insert joy, and then where you see the ellipses, it's for you to fill out. And so you're thinking of that particular quality or emotion as if it is a character. Feel free to jump in if you have any questions about this one. So I've allotted about 1 more minute, but I want to check in and see if we'd like a couple more minutes or any. So I'll give you about 1 more minute. And hopefully bringing that to a close. So I really love that exercise. We have activated the body. So now allowing the body to speak through different imagery and kind of recognizing this quality as a body or a character of its own. I love working with that in that way, working with a quality in that way, because it's a great way to create original, fresh metaphors for characters or for ourselves as a character. If we want to talk about an emotion or something that the character or we are experiencing, now we've created some other language to use to describe that. So I love hearing how these went. I love, Roxana, we can see you now. Wonderful. I love hearing how what came of this, what the process was like. You loved it, you hated it. But I love to hear, anything that came about. And if you'd like to read your little short story about the quality, I would love to hear a couple of those. So whatever anyone, Kristen.
Yes.
Oh, you're muted.
There, okay. No, I'm still muted.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. Play likes to come out. This morning, Play invited me to dance. My first thought was, oh shit. I realized that there wouldn't be Play today. I wish Play had said, look for your next date with me. And then there began a dance. Our dance was an act of anticipation. Play leaned over and whispered, I could be with you always. I finally understood that I always want to have something playful on the horizon.
Oh, beautiful. I love it. I love it. And you see how it gave you your next what to do, what it wants. I love it. Beautiful. Thanks so much, Kristen. That was lovely. Play said, I could be with you all the time if you just let me. I love that. Beautiful. Is there anyone else who would like to share? I thought I saw another hand. Roxana. And then Susan.
Unmute. Can you hear me now? All right, it's working. Great. Okay, it chose me strength.
Oh, nice.
Based on an experience I had this morning that was very spontaneous. So here's what I wrote. Strength likes profound presence and embodiment. This morning, strength invited me to dance. My first thought was, I'm opening a new window to an expanded, refreshing view. Then I realized that this is exactly what I need to become stronger. Then I said, I am in the right place. And we began to dance. Our dance was a breath of fresh air. My internal witness whispered, yes, here you are. I finally understood that, yes, indeed, I am on track, and all I need to do is let go of time expectations and listen deeply as I fall into embodying strength.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much, Roxanne.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
I just love how the conversation developed and that wisdom just came up, that wisdom that's already within us, within the body, is now out just by kind of approaching it through this little fun, the kind of little different way. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for this exercise to kind of highlight that experience that was so momentary this morning.
Beautiful.
So thank you.
Thank you. And then I think it was Susan.
Yep, it was me.
Go for it.
Serenity likes the gentle waves of a lake under a light breeze. She likes smell of pines and shifts of snow. This morning, Serenity invited me to dance. My first thought was no, maybe tomorrow, maybe after I get an answer on the thing that worries me. And then I realized there would be another different worry tomorrow and the tomorrow after that. Serenity then said, you can carry your worry and still dance with me. And we began to dance. Our dance was like the awkward, slow dance of teenagers in a high school gym, balloons and chaperones in the darkened corners. Serenity leaned over and whispered, this is how it begins. You won't know how it ends. I finally understood that tomorrow is never guaranteed.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, so much emotion in that. Thank you for sharing that. And I loved how Serenity, it began. It likes nature. It likes to be the snow, and there were some other, I want to say the pines and other, it likes to be wrapped in the arms of Mother Nature, like our origins. It likes that. And then this beautiful imagery of the high school dance that really took me back to those days. So, that was lovely. And loved how that just brought out a message for you through that exercise.
I have an anxiety-provoking thing in my life at the moment, and I would like some serenity. So
absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Oh, that was lovely. So that is always something, that is a practice that you can do. I take an emotion, a feeling that is coming from the body. I tune into the body and then turn that into a character. And it usually has a message for me. It has something for me, which, as I was saying, that's really what's already in you. You've just reached it through a different way by tuning into the body and kind of being kind of whimsical about it. So thank you for your shares on that. So what I'd like to invite you to do now is think of a time when you really enjoyed physical movement at any point throughout your life. And start to visualize this time and the emotions surrounding it and think about it. But the little caveat in terms of the writing exercise is I'm going to invite you to step back and be an observer. So you could write from the point of view of someone observing you doing this movement and really enjoying it, or you could give the movement to a character. And so what the invitation is to kind of capture the moment or explode the moment by focusing in on what's happening internally, externally, adding in setting, what have you, other details, the senses, but just writing from the third person. So she, and so on, so using the third person, giving it to a character and just observing yourself in this in this joyful movement.
Kimberly?
Yes.
Yeah, this is probably very elementary, but what does POV stand for?
I'm sorry, point of view.
Point of view. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely, no problem. Always ask. Yeah, no question is too simple. And so this is just a short one. You're capturing that moment in a number of sentences, and you'll have till about a quarter after for this one. And just another minute. And finding a place where you can bring that to a close for now. And before moving into our final activity, I would just love to hear if there's anyone that would like to speak about the process of that exercise or read what you wrote, anything. I feel I'm gonna mispronounce your name, but I'm gonna try Kunzang.
Yes, it's Kunzang. Thank you, Kimberly.
Okay.
I'll just read what I wrote. Gringa is the slang for an American woman. And I spent a lot of time in Mexico.
Okay.
She is a gringa, and yet she knows how to dance. Don't you see how her feet with no shoes leave the floor, and over on the sidelines, even her shoes start to move as if they're on her feet. They wish they were closer to her, at least, like all the muchachos watching her. She is confident, beautiful, and completely of the music. It is inside her, and it is her. Can't you see that? Can you also see she dances for no one, but only to express the music she has become?
Oh, that was lovely. Thank you so much. Oh, that was beautiful. Is it Kunsang? Am I
Yes.
pronouncing it? Okay. Thank you so much. There were a couple of lines. It was inside of her and it is her. That was lovely. And then I like the insertion of those questions to the reader. Can you see it? Can you see her? Something about that was lovely. That was beautiful. How did it feel to write about yourself, but from this point of the observer? What was that like?
Well, I've never done that, and so it was nice. It gave me freedom because I wasn't talking about myself, and and of course I'm surprised that I chose this, and I haven't thought about that night in a long time.
Oh, beautiful. I'm glad that called up a memory.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. I see in the chat, Susan said that was beautiful, gave you a compliment, and then said it was easier to be nice to myself doing it as a character, not me, rather than from the point of view of someone looking at me. Sure, absolutely. Yeah, it's for some reason, if we take that distance, we can have some level of compassion for ourselves. And I love this exercise also as it's kind of a reminder. It pulls up some memory of some joy of movement, which if we can still do, maybe we should make a plan to do it if it brought, some joy to us. Anyone else like to share?
Well,
Juliana.
Yasmin Levy's Ladino songs are playing on the computer. She stretches her arms skyward and slowly begins to whirl. As the drums increase the tempo, she stomps her feet, rapidly whirling faster and faster. Yasmin's voice sings a haunting refrain. She paces slowly as she whirls in slow motion around the room. She sings along, moving with the song, trance-like, smiling.
Oh, lovely. Oh, that was beautiful. Thank you. I love how the movement was captured, whirling and twirling, those words that actually sound like what they are. And the movement and then the smile, there's just such a sense of joy that arose from that piece. I love it.
I actually do that myself. I actually put on Yasmin Levy's Ladino songs and dance to them to get exercises if like raining outside. I live in Southern California too, so it's been raining.
Yes, we've had to find something to do. I agree. I love it. Beautiful. Thank you, Juliana. So in our last few moments, I think Roxana, you said you're a soul collage facilitator. So am I. Love soul collage. Since we don't have time to make our own soul collage cards, I have put a few images together for you. And maybe there is one of those that calls to you that your eye is attracted to. So, oh, Tina, you're also a soul collage facilitator. Wonderful. So taking a look at these images, maybe one of these three kind of is speaking to you a bit. Maybe just you're intuitively drawn to one of them. And what I would like to do is kind of just affirming ourselves and naming the strength and the power that we have, the gifts that we have, and what we can take forward. I'm going to invite you to take whichever image that you have chosen and step into it. Step into the main figure. So step into the woman meditating in the boardroom, or step into the woman lifting weights, or the woman smelling roses in the desert. And I'm going to invite you to write from the perspective of that primary figure there, starting with the prompt, I am one who. And you may think about all the things that you wrote today, anything that's come up, or kind of referring to the particular image, and allow that character to speak. I am one who. So maybe just a few sentences. Once it starts speaking, it may keep going, so let its words flow. And so about just one more moment, or a minute, rather. And starting to find a place where you can bring that to a close for now. And if you felt comfortable, I would love if you felt like you wanted to speak into the space, one of your I am one who sentences, or you could place them in the chat. But it would be wonderful if everyone felt like they could speak something, if you feel, only if you feel comfortable though. And we would make a collective poem of this strength and wisdom that has come through tonight. So if you feel comfortable, if you'd like to, if you could raise your digital hand, and then I will know that you're interested in reading your statement. Kunzang, thank you. Why don't you go ahead?
Okay, I didn't know it was going to go this way because I don't know what a soul collage is, but this is what happened.
That's how soul collage works. That's exactly
okay.
how it works. You don't know how it's going to go. So
okay.
You're doing it right.
Okay. I am the one smelling roses in the desert. I may die here in this desert. I can't read it. I'm going to cry. Sorry.
Take your time. Take your time.
I may die here in this desert, but please may I focus on the rose as my mother did as she died, and I was there with her. At last she stopped being dry, parched, wrinkled, and crumbly heart that she had for the abuse she'd gone through as a child and still carried until she was 88. Until then, as she was dying, and at last she could say that instead of God or Jesus or any angels, she admitted she didn't believe in any of them, never had, even though she started the church in our small town. And as she admitted that, the rattlesnakes that had been surrounding her true self left. And then she was able to smell the rose she felt so closely.
Oh, I love that. What a story. And what a truthful. I know that was very, just so moving and touching about your mother, I believe. And just a memory of her and her life and the roses that she is smelling. That is exactly how soul collage works. It pulls that out of us. It pulls that beauty and that just everything, the touching, moving memories out of us.
Oh, well, I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. That was lovely. Thank you so much. I think I saw Susan. Yes.
Sure. You want the whole thing or just a sentence of it?
Whatever you would like to share would be fine.
Okay. I am one who enjoys the flowers wild, soaking in their blooms with every leather-clad boot step. I am one who has packed through the desert, its harsh beauty soaking into me. I am one who finds the small flowers among the rocks and admire them for their bravery and try as best as I can to step around them. I am one who is most at home outside the confines of four walls.
I love that. It is so amazing. So that is this, you were using the same one on the right in the desert, right? With the rose and with the flowers. And you can see how our own personal experience, our own who we are attaches itself to those images and speaks through those images. Beautiful. That was lovely. Love it. Thank you so much. And I think I saw Annabelle. We have time for one more, and then there's a few in the chat to read as well. Go ahead, Annabelle. Unmute for us, though. You're still muted.
I'm the one who enjoys the soft images in life, which I often forget to focus on. I'm the one who enjoys the dichotomy, acknowledging the strength I was forced to develop in response to outside forces. Yet I am the sum of the two images, the two parts of my soul.
Ah, Lovely. Oh, I love that. That was, I want to say, the woman lifting weights, and then the Japanese background, the strength and the two different things. And I am the sum of the two things. We are complicated, we are complex. Beautiful. Thank you so much. That was lovely. So it is the top of the hour, it's not the top of the hour, it's whatever it is at the hour, halfway point. So I have to let you go. So this has gone by way too fast, and I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your presence and participation and just willingness to try these exercises. And I'm going to turn it over to Tina. I want to thank Story Circle Network for having me. I've really enjoyed this. And I'll turn it over to Tina. Wish you all the best and hope to see you again. I put in the chat the Soul Collage website if you want to check that out also.
Yes, Kimberly, this was a beautiful, beautiful workshop. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm just amazed at just the beautiful words coming in through the chat. This was just lovely, brought tears to so many of our eyes. I know it did with me. Just a beautiful, beautiful workshop. I have added, and I know Kimberly, you added, let me just, Kimberly offers some wonderful creative expression workshops, soul collage workshops. I just dropped her website in the chat. I invite all of you to take a look at that. And, you know, on behalf of the board of directors of Story Circle Network, Kimberly, we just thank you so, so very much for your time this evening. This was absolutely lovely. And before I let everyone go, I did want to make sure that all of you are aware of our next workshop, because we do Story Circle Network hosts workshops every month. And just a quick highlight, next month, I'm sorry, March 20th at 6 p.m. Central Time. So that's 7 p.m. East Coast Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. And it's Learning the Lingo, which is a publishing process overview with Anastasia Zadik. And she's going to be joining us. So that's a bit more of a technical workshop. So we hope all of you will join us for that. And one other thing I want to just share with everybody before you go is some of you may know that we are currently in a contest. We have like 3 contests that we do every year. And right now is our blog contest. I've just put it in the chat. It closes on the 24th. I guess it's this weekend. So all of you blog writers, we invite you to enter one of your blog posts or your blog. The link is in the chat. We will be picking a winner. Actually, I think first, second, and third place. So if you are a blogger, please join us for that contest. But again, Kimberly, with much, much gratitude on behalf of the board of directors for Story Circle Network, I thank you, thank you, thank you for an absolutely beautiful workshop. And thank you all for your participation this evening. You're very, very wonderful, very open, vulnerable sharing. I mean, that's what this is all about. So thank you all. Tina Games, on behalf of the Story Circle Network, thank you very, very much for everyone, your time this evening. I wish you all a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you.